The house was too quiet. Travis Rourke stood in the kitchen, staring at the microwave clock blinking 1:32 a.m. No wind outside. No crickets. Just the soft hum of the fridge and the thud of his own heartbeat. The kind of silence that spoke louder than noise. He hadn't slept in 2 nights. Something in his gut was off. The kind of feeling that had saved his life overseas more times than he could count. In Kandahar, silence meant ambush. In marriage, it meant betrayal. He heard the whisper, soft, faint, from a living room. He moved without sound, the same way he used to move through enemy camps. He stepped into the hall, saw the flicker of light coming from Marla's office. Door cracked an inch. Her voice low, urgent. I told you. He's taking the boat out tomorrow. It's perfect. A pause. Then a man's voice, muffled and slick. If we don't do this now, someone else might get to him first. Travis didn't breathe. He backed away slow, went straight to the basement, pulled open a locked case. Inside, a burner phone, a micro recorder, and a tactical camera kit. He hadn't needed this gear in years. But tonight, the silence spoke first, and what it said chilled him to the bone. Was this what coming home was supposed to feel like? Travis knew better than to confront her outright. That's what they'd expect. He went back to bed, pretended to be asleep. She slid in next to him at 2:11 a.m., smelling of cheap perfume and guilt. Her breathing steady, fake. She'd learned how to lie to him well. Too well. By morning, Travis was already 10 steps ahead. While she took her usual shower, he cloned her phone in less than 2 minutes using an old tool from his Black Ops days. No alerts. No traces. Just a perfect mirror of every call, text, and photo she made from now on. By noon, the phone pinged. Clay H. Tomorrow's a go. No mistakes. Travis stared at the message. His stomach didn't turn. His jaw didn't clench. His breathing didn't change. He just saved the message and tagged it. Timestamp. Location. Backup uploaded to cloud. At 4:17 p.m., she smiled across the dinner table like nothing was wrong. You sure you want to go out on the water tomorrow? I heard the storm might roll in early. He smiled back. I'll keep it close to shore. She reached for his hand. You know I worry. He squeezed hers gently. I know. Later that night, another message came through. Clay H. Make sure he doesn't come back. Travis leaned back in his chair, alone in the garage, lit by the soft glow of his laptop. You really shouldn't have sent that, Clay. The Mustang was always parked 2 blocks from the hotel. Same spot. Every Tuesday and Thursday. Travis parked across the street. Engine off, camera rolling from his dash. At 6:42 p.m., Marla walked out of the hotel lobby wearing the red dress he bought her last anniversary. His hands didn't shake. Clay followed behind her, smirking, buttoning his shirt, his Rolex flashing in the streetlight. He kissed her on the neck before they slid into the car and drove off. Travis followed them 4 miles down to a riverside condo. Another camera already hidden across from the building caught everything. Inside the condo, through a scoped lens from the building across the street, Travis watched. They laughed. They drank. They kissed like teenagers. Then Clay said something that made Travis pause. I still think you're underestimating him. Marla rolled her eyes. Travis is a ghost of who he used to be. He couldn't read a blueprint now, let alone survive one clean hit. Clay sipped his drink. Ghosts are dangerous too. They don't follow rules. Travis watched her laugh, toss her hair, and lean in close. Don't worry. I married him. I know exactly how to end him. That was the moment. The switch flipped. This wasn't just an affair. This was a plot. He packed up and left. Drove in silence. Parked under a bridge and opened a storage locker he hadn't touched in years. Inside, a duffel bag. Loaded. Explosives. Tactical gear. Maps. IDs. Tools. Travis Rourke had spent years in the shadows overseas. Now, the shadows had followed him home. And this time, he wasn't taking prisoners. Travis always believed in patterns. Every ambush overseas started with one, a shift in routine, a silence, a twitch. Now his marriage had a pattern too. He laid it out across the garage wall. Photos, dates, phone pings, locations. Every time Marla left the house. Every call to Clay. Every insurance-related email. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday nights. Same window. Same locations. But what caught his eye wasn't the affair. It was the paperwork. A new will signed 3 weeks ago. Power of attorney transferred to Marla. A hidden insurance policy filed under a shell company. $750,000 if he died in a non-combat-related accident. Travis circled it in red. 2 months ago, she was begging him to retire, to just come home for good. Now she was setting up for his exit. He played it cool, left his gear behind, went back inside. Marla was watching TV, legs curled up, sipping wine. She looked over and smiled. "You all right?" she asked soft. "Just tired," he said. "Thinking about taking the boat out for a full day tomorrow. Clear my head." "Good idea," she said without missing a beat. "You always feel better after the water." He studied her face. Calm, relaxed, practiced. She had this planned. He nodded slowly. "You want me to grab anything while I'm out?" She looked back at the TV. "No, just be careful." A beat passed. "I will." As he turned away, she called out, "Love you." Travis paused at the hallway. Was it muscle memory, or just part of the act? The garage became his war room. He cracked open her laptop again, this time deeper. A hidden folder, password protected, buried under layers of photo albums and real estate documents. He broke it in 20 minutes. Inside were PDFs, scanned copies of forms, letters, authorizations. Everything needed to cash in on a dead husband. Some pages were signed with his name. He never touched them. One video caught his eye. It was a screen recording. Marla was on a Zoom call. Clay was in frame, shirtless, holding a whiskey glass. She laughed. "He has no clue. We could kill him in his sleep, and he'd probably thank me." Clay leaned in. "Let's make it look like an accident. I know a guy who can handle explosives." "No fingerprints." Travis paused the video. Rewound. Played it again. Explosives. This wasn't some lover's fantasy. This was a real operation. He saved everything. Created 3 offline backups. One mailed to Boone with a note. "If anything happens to me, this is why." Later that night, he sat in the kitchen with the lights off, watching the dark outline of Marla walking down the hallway in nothing but a robe. She paused, looked around, checked the front lock. Still playing the role. He whispered to himself, "You're gonna bury me?" Then quietly added, "I'll dig my way back up." Clay Halpern's office looked like something out of a Netflix documentary on corrupt power. Modern art on the walls. Italian leather chairs. A full bar behind his desk. Slick hair, tailored suit, fake smile. Travis walked in during open hours, unannounced, posing as a potential client. Receptionist smiled. "Mr. Halpern's busy right now. Do you have an appointment?" Travis smiled back. "No, but tell him a former friend of Marla's is here. He'll want to hear what I've got." 2 minutes later, Clay stepped out. Eyes scanned Travis. His smile didn't waver. "Can I help you?" he said smoothly. "Divorce prep," Travis said. "Need someone good." Clay motioned to his office. "You came to the right place." Inside, Travis scanned every detail. No family photos. No personal touches. Just success and lies. He let Clay pitch for 10 minutes. Then dropped a fake file on the table. A manila folder filled with printed screenshots of hypothetical insurance scams. Clay's face didn't change. "I see you've done your research. I like to know who I'm working with," Travis said, "especially when big money's involved." Clay leaned forward. "You ever been in a position where someone needed to disappear?" Travis held his stare. "Once." Clay smirked. "Then you understand how things work." "Oh, I do," Travis said, standing up. "I really do." As he left, Clay never once looked nervous. But Travis saw it in his hand, the twitch. That small, instinctual flinch when you realize the guy across from you isn't playing games. And worse, he might be better at it than you. Travis stood at the edge of the dock just before dawn, the lake calm and empty. A fog rolled in, low and slow, like it was part of the plan. Because it was. The boat was ready. Camera hidden on the dash. GPS jammed. A custom explosive device rigged to detonate under the motor. Small enough for damage. Big enough for headlines. In a storage box, a blood bag, soaked clothes, and a set of weighted boots stuffed with pig meat. Just enough to fool investigators. He'd tested this setup before. Years ago. Different continent. Different target. Now he was the target. Marla stood at the sliding glass door, robe tied loose, coffee in hand. She waved lazily. He waved back. smiled. Inside, she thought she was hours away from cashing in. But Travis had already set the trigger, remote detonator synced to his burner. He pushed off, motor humming across the water. He didn't look back. An hour later, he pressed the button. The lake lit up orange. A column of smoke shot into the sky. Bits of debris scattered across the surface like confetti. News vans were on the scene by noon. Retired Special Forces veteran presumed dead after tragic lake explosion. Marla played the grieving widow like a pro. And Travis? He was watching from 10 miles out. Safe house. Clean shave. New clothes. One sentence playing on repeat in his mind. Dead men don't bury the truth. They dig it up. The funeral was closed casket. Marla cried on cue. Clay wore a dark suit and mirrored sunglasses, playing the part of supportive friend. Cameras rolled. Sympathy poured in. But Travis wasn't 6 feet under. He was sitting in a motel room in Asheville, drinking gas station coffee, watching it unfold on a cracked screen. Marla's speech was short, full of empty words. He was brave. He was kind. He died doing what he loved, being alone on the water. Travis smirked. Nice touch. Boone checked in via encrypted line. News bought it. Everyone thinks you're gone. Clean hit. I'm not done yet, Travis said. Across the motel bed lay 3 files. One on Clay's finances, one on Marla's property deals, and one on a federal agent with way too much interest in both. He circled 2 words in red. Follow money. Later that night, he parked a block away from Clay's condo and watched them celebrate. Expensive wine, music, kisses on the balcony. Marla laughed louder than he'd ever heard before. She was free, rich, untouchable, but she didn't know one thing. The dead don't forget. Marla's hands shook when she found the envelope under her windshield. No stamp, no name, just one line inside, handwritten in Travis's sharp block letters. You buried the wrong man. She dropped it, looked around fast, but there was no one. That night, her security cameras glitched. Her phone rang once, then silence. At 3:12 a.m., a burner number texted her, "Heard you liked boats." Marla didn't sleep after that. Clay said it was just trauma, grief, maybe guilt. But the thing about ghosts is, they don't care if you believe in them. Travis was watching their every move. Security systems hacked. Calls rerouted. The lights in their house flickered twice when Clay joked, "He's probably haunting us." Travis whispered to himself, "Closer than you think." Meanwhile, Boone was running ops from a van outside the city. "Yo," Boone said over the secure line. "This is getting fun. People are already speculating online. Reddit's catching on. You're officially a mystery man." Travis leaned back in the chair, cold eyes locked on a screen showing Marla sleeping. "Let you in guess." He paused, then glanced toward the camera. "Hey, if you're watching this, tell me something. Where are you watching from? Chicago? Miami? Somewhere small where stuff like this never happens? Type your city in the comments. Let's see how far this truth spreads." He smiled just a little. Everyone loves a good ghost story. Clay stood in his office, staring at his phone. He had just gotten another message from a number that didn't exist 5 seconds ago. Stop smiling for the cameras. He sees you. He locked the screen. "You think it's him?" he asked Marla. She paced by the window, pale. "It can't be. They found pieces of the boat. They buried him." Clay muttered, "People fake deaths all the time. You ever seen what he could do before you married him?" Marla looked away. Travis was never the guy who raised his voice. He didn't punch walls. He observed, calculated, executed, quietly. "I don't know what he's capable of now," she whispered. Clay poured himself a drink. "We should leave town for a while." Across the city, Travis sat in front of a laptop, eyes scanning lines of code. GPS logs from Clay's car. Camera footage from traffic lights. He cracked into Clay's calendar through a weakness in his assistant's cloud login. Routine. That was the key. Humans were built on it. Even liars. Boone's voice crackled through a headset. "I ran background on Clay. Dude's clean on paper, but one of his old paralegals used to work for a cartel front. That's our opening." Travis nodded. "Send everything." They were in phase 2 now. Psychological pressure. Paranoia. Chaos. He uploaded a deepfake voice memo, his own voice, into Marla's voicemail box. She checked it the next morning. "You thought it was over, But I'm still listening, she screamed. Clay tried to calm her, but the cracks were showing. And Travis? He was only just warming up. It started with a USB drive sent anonymously to a local news station in Charlotte. The reporter opened it on air, live, during the morning show. It contained grainy video. Marla and Clay laughing in a hotel room 2 weeks before Travis's accident. Audio clear as day. Clay, he's not going to make it back. Marla, that's the point. The news anchor's face froze. This footage appears to show the widow and a criminal defense attorney discussing the presumed victim's death before it happened. The clip went viral within an hour. Reddit threads exploded. Hashtags flooded social media. Hashtag the widow plot, hashtag justice for Travis, hashtag ghost husband. Marla called Clay, sobbing. We're done. It's all out there. Clay snapped. You said this was airtight. Across town, Travis sat in a coffee shop, hoodie pulled low, watching it all unfold on a tablet. The leak wasn't random. It was a move. He knew public pressure broke people faster than fists. Boone messaged, Phase 3 is a go. Got access to Clay's shell accounts. He's hiding cartel money. Travis replied, time to show the world who he really defends. That night, someone spray-painted the word liar across Clay's law office windows. Marla unplugged all the cameras in the house. Clay loaded a pistol. And Travis? He smiled once. The war was no longer private. Clay paced the length of his condo like a man walking a plank. The leak had cost him 2 clients and triggered a bar ethics investigation. Someone even keyed killer into his car door. You're too calm, he snapped at Marla. She lit a cigarette with shaking hands. What do you want me to do? Panic louder? Clay poured whiskey. We need help. He made a call, one that Travis was expecting. A man named Ochoa answered. A name Travis hadn't heard since Kandahar. Ochoa worked with money men, cartels, politicians, shadows. If Clay was calling him, it meant he was panicking. Boone's message came through. Clay just wired $50K to a holding account in El Paso. That's a cleanup fee. Travis's reply was instant. Trace it. Freeze it. Let him squirm. They moved fast. Within hours, the account was frozen. The money locked. Ochoa? Furious. Clay got the call that night. You brought heat to my doorstep, the voice growled. I just needed protection. You just bought a problem, lawyer. Meanwhile, Marla sat in the corner of the room, knees tucked up, watching her world fall apart. She whispered into the silence. Travis, what are you doing to us? And the answer echoed without sound. He's turning the weapons they built back on them. Marla kept the curtains closed now. She unplugged the TV, turned her phone off at night. She even started carrying a taser in her purse, just in case. You're being dramatic, Clay said. Easy for you to say, she snapped. You didn't marry the guy. Clay rolled his eyes, sipping his usual drink. He's dead, Marla. Whatever's happening now, it's some tech kid trying to scare us. Deep fakes, AI, smoke and mirrors. But even as he said it, his voice cracked a little. Because he'd started hearing things too, his own voice played back on his office phone. A file named Clay_kills.wave appeared on his desktop with no trace of where it came from. He never clicked it. Travis knew they were unraveling. He kept the pressure up, hitting them in ways they didn't expect. He hacked into Clay's thermostat, dropping the temperature to 40 degrees overnight. Marla woke up shivering, windows fogged, alarm system jammed. She screamed when she saw her own wedding photo face down on the nightstand. She was cracking. Fast. Boone called in. Clay's partner just pulled out case. Says he won't work with him until the heat clears. Travis nodded. Good. Keep squeezing. He printed a fake subpoena, left it on Clay's windshield. Next to it, an old photo from Travis's deployment. A picture no one else should have. By morning, Clay didn't go to work. He just stared out the window, door locked, pistol in hand. The message came through at 2:17 a.m. Remember the dock? Marla woke up screaming. She ran to the front door. Locked. Nothing outside. No car. No sound. But the dock, was where Travis had left from that morning. Where the boat exploded. Where she waved goodbye like she already knew. She dropped to the floor, gasping. He knows. He remembers everything. Clay turned on every light in the house. He's dead, Marla. You saw the wreckage. She looked at him wide-eyed. I didn't see him. That's the difference. The next day, she tried to show a friend the threatening texts. But every message was gone. Erased. Like they never existed. The only thing left was a single image. Travis's military ID. Clay's credit cards stopped working. The IRS opened an investigation. One of his clients was arrested for fraud. You think he's behind this? He asked Marla. I think we're already buried. And he's the one shoveling the dirt. Clay punched a hole in the wall. Marla started packing. Travis watched from a parked car across the street. His voice quiet through the headset. Collapse always starts slow, then everything breaks at once. Would have been digging through old files for days. He finally called Travis with something different in his voice. You're going to want to hear this. They met in an old hunting cabin upstate. Off-grid. Cold. Quiet. Boone opened his laptop, tapped a file titled Operation Iron Bluff, redacted. Travis scanned the first few pages. Mission brief. Dates. Kill list. Photos. Then, a name, Clayton Halpern. Legal consultant. Attached to an extraction op in Kandahar. Civilian. Travis blinked. He was there. Worse, Boone said. He wasn't just there. He was part of the cleanup. Boone showed a message string. Clay's name. Agent Caro name. Cross-reference with sealed Department of Defense files. They weren't just involved in some legal scam. They were connected through war crimes. Travis's war. It wasn't just about money. This had been in motion long before Marla ever poured him that glass of wine and smiled too sweet. Travis sat back, hands on his knees, the silence thick. They didn't just want me dead. Boone nodded. They wanted you erased. Travis stood up, zipped his jacket. This isn't about revenge anymore. Then what is it? Travis looked out at the woods. It's justice. Clay woke up tied to a chair. Metal cuffs, industrial zip ties. A chain looped tight around his chest, bolted to the floor. No windows. Concrete walls. Single light overhead. His mouth was taped shut, eyes wide, darting around. Then he heard it. Footsteps. Slow. Deliberate. Travis stepped into the light. No mask. No bluff. Just war in human form. Clay's eyes bulged. Travis peeled the tape off. Clay gasped. You're supposed to be dead. Travis didn't blink. You were supposed to be smart. Clay struggled against the cuffs. Look, man, it was her idea. Marla. She pulled me in. Travis leaned in close. You think I care who lit the match? I'm here for the fire. He dropped a folder in Clay's lap. Inside, surveillance shots of every cartel deal Clay ever touched. Photos of his offshore accounts. A notarized confession form, pre-filled, waiting for a signature. You've got two options, Travis said. Sign this and disappear. Or stay quiet, and your body ends up where you left me, blown to pieces and forgotten. Clay swallowed hard. You're not the law. Travis stared. No, I'm a consequence. He stood, turned off the light, and walked out. Clay's screams echoed in the dark. Marla sat in front of her vanity mirror, hands trembling as she tried to apply makeup. She hadn't left the house in days. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. One image. A grainy security cam still of Clay, chained. Eyes terrified. Alive. She dropped the phone, stared into her own reflection. You did this, she whispered to herself. You got too greedy. The lights flickered. Outside, a car idled. Too long. Too still. She pulled the curtains back. Nothing there. Back inside, she reached for her wine glass and saw it. A sticky note on the inside rim of the mirror. He sees the truth now. Do you? She screamed, backed away, knocking everything over. She ran into the kitchen, grabbed a knife. But there was no one inside. No sound. Just the whir of the refrigerator and her own breath. Later, she checked her voicemail. A voice she hadn't heard in weeks. Travis. You ever sit in front of a mirror long enough that it starts to look back at you? She threw the phone across the room. Because the voice wasn't angry. It was calm. And that was worse. At exactly 7 p.m., every screen in Marla's house turned on at once. TV, laptop, phone, tablet, same feed, a live stream. Travis, standing in front of Clay, who was tied to a chair, breathing hard. Bruised. Terrified. Travis spoke directly to the camera. Marla Rourke. Clay Halpern. Agent Caro. You thought you could erase a soldier like a dirty file. But you didn't just burn a man, you lit a fuse. He stepped aside. Clay tried to speak. Couldn't. Travis lifted a thumb drive in front of the camera. This contains every file you buried, every life you touched, every dollar you laundered. He looked into the lens. Justice doesn't come in courtrooms. It comes like this. Then the screen went black. Marla dropped to her knees, sobbing. She wasn't scared because Travis was back. She was scared because he had the truth. And now, he wasn't hiding it anymore. Marla's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters, anonymous threats, her own mother, every one of them asking the same question. Is it true? She sat on the floor of her walk-in closet, staring at her wedding ring in the palm of her hand. It looked heavier now. Across town, an FBI agent named Dane Caro slammed his laptop shut. His name had appeared on the dark web, linked to a Black Ops file no one was ever supposed to see. He knew exactly who did it. Travis. Caro made a call. Give me Marla Rourke. Quietly. She met him in a rented townhouse 2 hours later. You know you're being hunted, right? He said. She crossed her arms. You think I don't feel it every second of the day? I can protect you, he offered. But I need everything. The affair, the plan, the hit, the bank transfers, the involvement with Clay. All of it. Marla hesitated, then nodded. Fine, but I want immunity. Caro nodded slowly. Then let's bury Travis Rourke. What she didn't know, Travis had already hacked the room's audio. Boone sent him the files live. He didn't flinch. Let them talk. Because soon, the whole world would be listening. The press conference was meant to calm the public. Instead, it lit the match. A live broadcast was interrupted mid-speech, feeds hijacked, screens flickering. Suddenly, a new video played. Travis's voice narrating, with images flashing fast, military files, surveillance footage, financial documents, Marla and Clay together in hotel rooms, bank statements, a digital trail of betrayal. One image froze on screen, Clay in the chair, tied and broken. Then Travis appeared. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is fact. This is what betrayal looks like when you dress it in silk and diamonds. When you pay for murder with stolen blood money. The internet exploded. Hashtags trended in minutes. Hashtag Operation Exposed. Hashtag Travis was right. Hashtag The Dead Man Speaks. The storm Travis started was now nationwide. Marla was mobbed, leaving her condo. Paparazzi outside. Protesters throwing red paint. Clay, missing. Still chained. Still watching the fallout from a laptop Travis left on loop. Caro tried damage control. Too late. Boone called in. Brother, this thing's out of your hands now. Travis stood in a motel room, calm. It was never in mine. Travis moved through the federal server system like a ghost. He breached Caro's secure folder in under 12 minutes. Inside were sealed files marked classified. Everything from wartime blackmail to stateside deals. Corrupt defense contracts. Names. Payouts. Kill orders. It wasn't just betrayal. It was a full system rigged to erase people like him. He copied the files, encrypted them, created dead drops across multiple platforms. This wasn't about Marla anymore. She was just a pawn. The real rot sat behind desks in clean suits and fake smiles. Boone's voice hit his ear. You're officially on every watch list we didn't even know existed. Good, Travis said. Let them watch. That night, a package landed on Caro's desk. No return address. Inside, a flash drive and a single bullet. Caro paled, because only one man would send that. And it wasn't a threat. It was a countdown. Marla sat at her vanity, scrubbing off her makeup like it was blood. She hadn't left the condo in 3 days. Her phone wouldn't stop buzzing. Emails, texts, subpoenas. Every news site had her face on it now, always paired with a headline like Black Widow Plot Exposed, or Widow, or Assassin. The Mirror held her stare. She couldn't even cry anymore. Travis had sent her a message an hour ago, an unlisted YouTube link. It opened with home video footage. Her and Travis. Early years. Smiling. Dancing in the kitchen. Then it cut to the night she signed the insurance papers. Cut again. Hotel hallway footage of her and Clay kissing. Laughing. Then her voice from a tapped phone call. He's leaving on the boat tomorrow. It's perfect. She shut the laptop. She was already buried. and Travis hadn't even shown his face yet. Caro stepped out of his SUV and saw the smoke first. His vacation house, tucked quietly in the woods outside Raleigh, was on fire. Flames licked the night sky. Fire trucks blocked the road. Neighbors watched from a distance. He shouted, trying to push past the barricade. One firefighter stopped him. "You own the place?" the man asked. Caro nodded, panting. The firefighter handed him a box, scorched at the edges. "Found this in the safe before it blew. Inside the box, a flash drive, a dog tag, and a note. You cover my name in ash. I'm just returning the favor." Caro stared into the fire, jaw tight, eyes hollow. He thought this was just about Travis, about war. But this was bigger. He felt the burn in his chest before the flames ever reached his house. Marla tried to sneak into the grocery store wearing sunglasses and a scarf. Didn't matter. A woman with a toddler pointed. That's her, the one who planned it. By the time she reached checkout, she'd been filmed by 3 people. Her face was back online within minutes. The comments were brutal. Snake and heels. Gold-digging widow. Where's Travis now? The last one hurt the most. Outside, someone had keyed her car again, this time not with words. Just a symbol. The same one from Travis's military patch. A spade with wings, scorched into her hood. She backed away fast, nearly tripping. She didn't drive home. She couldn't. She sat in the parking lot for hours, holding her head in her hands. It was no longer just revenge. This was reputation assassination. Death by public shame. She whispered, "Please stop." But Travis didn't hear her. And even if he did, he wouldn't stop. Not yet. It was 3 a.m., and Marla still hadn't closed her eyes. Every time she did, she saw his face calm, distant, watching. She covered the camera on her laptop, put tape over her phone lens, disconnected her Wi-Fi. Didn't matter. He always found a way. She sat on her bed, scrolling Reddit threads about the case. One had over 2,000 comments. Travis is a genius. They picked the wrong soldier. What if he was never dead at all? Her hand shook as she read one reply. He's watching. Trust that. She jumped up, pacing. Somewhere across the state, Travis was watching live surveillance footage of her apartment. He had eyes in every room now. She'd installed the cameras. He'd just taken them back. Boone called in. "You've got control of 5 devices. Want the rest?" Travis replied flatly. "No. She knows I'm watching now. That's enough." He clicked open another file. Her medical records. A recent therapist report. Diagnosis: paranoid. High stress. Night terrors. Possible dissociative episodes. "She's spiraling," Boone said. "Want to end it?" Travis stared at the screen. "Not yet. People break louder when they know someone's listening." Marla showed up to the courtroom in all black. Hair tied back. Eyes hollow. The case was civil, not criminal for now. But it was public. And Travis had made sure of that. The courtroom buzzed with press. Cameras in the hallway. A crowd waited outside, chanting, "Justice for Travis." "Where's the money, Marla?" She sat at the defendant's table while her attorney argued her mental state. Trauma, grief, confusion. Then the plaintiff's lawyer stood up. "I'd like to enter a piece of evidence." He played an audio file through the speaker system. A familiar voice. "Marla, he's taking the boat out tomorrow." "It's perfect." She froze. Then another voice, "Clay, make sure he doesn't come back." Gasps rippled through the gallery. The judge banged the gavel. "Order." Marla stared at the speaker, mouth open, eyes wide. She whispered, "How did he get that?" No one answered. But somewhere nearby, Travis watched from an unmarked SUV. Calm. Still. Boone's voice came through the earpiece. "She's done." Travis didn't reply. He just looked at the courthouse and said softly, "One more crack, then it all breaks." Travis didn't sleep much anymore. He never really did. Not since Afghanistan. But tonight, he couldn't stop hearing one voice. Mason's. He hadn't thought of that mission in years. The night they lost comms. The village. The body count. And the final words Mason had whispered, bleeding out under the stars. "Don't go home to lies." Travis lit a cigarette with shaking fingers. He didn't even smoke. Not until the nightmares started again. He looked down at the scar across his ribs, a jagged line from shrapnel. Marla had kissed that scar once. Said it made him look dangerous. Now, it just itched like a warning. Boone sent a message. Caro making moves. He's trying to disappear. Travis responded, "If he doesn't get to vanish, he gets to pay." He stared at the map of North Carolina, pins marking every key location. He moved one, the place where it all began. The dock. That's where it would end. Clay woke up with blood dried on the side of his mouth. He didn't know how long he'd been in the dark. Maybe 2 days, maybe 5. The lights came on in random bursts. No food, no water, just sound. Voices from the past. Phone calls. Secret recordings. His own dirty confessions looped over speakers while he sat cuffed to a chair in the corner of a concrete room. Travis never showed his face again. He didn't need to. The walls of Clay's mind were closing in. Then one night, a door opened. Clay squinted. Light spilled in. A tray was set down, a bottle of water, a pen, and a legal form. On top, in red ink, confession. At the bottom, a single line in block letters, Travis's writing, "Fix what you broke or rot here." Clay stared at the paper, trembling. And then, slowly, he reached for the pen. Marla was mid-sentence on a live podcast, trying to do damage control. People forget that trauma affects memory. "I didn't plan anything." The screen glitched. Then every stream on the platform cut to the same hijacked feed. A black screen faded in. Travis's voice. Calm. Measured. Deadly. "You took everything from me. So now, I'm returning the favor." Then it started. Clay's video confession. Bank records. Audio of Agent Caro signing off on cover-ups overseas. Documents tying cartel cash to political campaigns. Photos of the forged insurance papers. Millions of people watched, stunned. Marla froze in the podcast chair. Her mic was still live. The host whispered, "Is this real?" Marla blinked at the screen. "I too late." The internet moved faster than guilt. In 20 minutes, hashtag Travis Rourke was trending globally. And hashtag The Widow Plot, it was already being turned into a documentary. Caro punched a hole in the wall of his private office. The files were out. The world knew. He called every contact, every fixer, every dirty favor he was owed. No one answered. His face was already plastered across news sites. Former agent turned informant turned traitor. Travis had delivered the final blow and done it without firing a shot. He walked into his bathroom, hands shaking, reached for a bottle of pills. That's when he saw it. On the mirror, written in red. "There's no protocol for karma." He stumbled back, heart racing. In the hallway, the lights flickered. Back in the bathroom, the message was gone. No noise. No movement. Just silence. Across town, Travis watched the security feed from Caro House. He didn't say a word, just leaned back in his chair and stared at the screen. Boone called. "You ready?" Travis nodded to no one. "It's time." Travis stood on the dock before sunrise. The same dock he had left from the day he died. Same water. Same fog rolling over the surface. The wood creaked under his boots, but he stood still, like he belonged there more than ever. In his hand, a small wooden box. Inside, his father's dog tags, a folded American flag, and a letter he never sent. It was addressed to no one, just titled The Truth. Boone approached from behind, quiet but steady. He had a stitched-up wound under his collarbone from their last run-in with Caro men. He winced as he lit a cigarette. "You sure about this?" Boone asked. Travis didn't turn. "Yeah, this place started it. This is where it ends." Boone looked out across the lake. "After this, what then?" Travis took a deep breath. "There is no after. Not for people like us." They stood in silence for a moment. Then Travis opened the box and set it down at the edge of the dock. He lit the letter on fire, let the wind carry the ash out over the water. He whispered, "I came home, and home tried to kill me." Boone looked at him sideways. "What if it wasn't just home? What if it was you two?" Travis nodded once. "Honest. I let my guard down." Then he turned and walked toward the car, eyes locked on the horizon. It was time to finish what started long before anyone said, "I do." Boone had known Travis since basic. Back then, Travis wasn't the ghost he was now. He was sharp, deadly, but human. Now, he was the calm before a missile strike. They met in a storage unit out on the edge of nowhere, Travis's last hideout. Inside were weapons, hard drives, and cash. But there was one thing Boone hadn't seen until now. A photograph, taped to the inside wall. Folded, torn. Travis and Mason, in uniform, Smiling. Boone stepped closer. You ever think about him? Travis didn't look up from loading a rifle. Every day. Why didn't you leave all this behind? Travis clicked the mag in with a smooth snap. Because people like Clay, like Caro, they don't stop. Not until someone puts them down. Boone grabbed his shoulder. Then promise me. After this, you stop. No more ghosts. No more payback. You disappear. Travis looked at him, eyes tired but focused. If I make it out. Boone shook his head. No, man. When? When you make it out. They prepped the gear in silence. This wasn't just a takedown anymore. It was a hit on a machine. The lies, the politics, the blood money. And Travis was going in like a bullet with no backstop. Boone knew one thing. If Travis didn't come back, no one would. This was debt collection, war style. And it was already past due. Marla stared at the blank TV screen in her living room. For the first time in weeks, there were no new leaks. No messages. No red writing on the mirror. Just silence. She didn't know if that was better or worse. Her lawyer had quit. Her accounts were frozen. Her mother stopped taking her calls. She had no one left. She walked into the kitchen, looked out the window. The street was empty, but still she felt him. Watching. Always watching. She turned on the faucet. Let the water run. Then her phone buzzed. Unknown number. One text. I'm almost there. She dropped the phone, ran upstairs, grabbed the gun Clay had left behind. She didn't know how to use it. Didn't matter. If he was coming, she wasn't going down without a fight. But the house stayed quiet. Night fell. She stood in her bedroom, staring at the door. Every creak in the floorboard sounded like a step. Every breeze felt like breath on her neck. Then she heard it. Downstairs. The front door click. She froze. Gun raised. Breath caught. But no footsteps followed. No words. Just silence. The kind that crawls down your spine and tells you it's too late. Travis stood outside the old cabin where it all began. Where he and Marla had once spent a weekend during the early days. Back when smiles weren't fake and love didn't come with paperwork. He still remembered her laugh back then. Real. Pure. Now he only heard it through distorted surveillance audio and clipped courtroom footage. He had a choice. And tonight, he was finally ready to make it. Inside the cabin, a small setup was waiting. Lato. Signal jammer. One last confession video, cue to go live if he didn't return. Boone's voice came through the headset. You sure about this, brother? Travis nodded to no one. She deserved a chance to say the last words. Boone paused. Mercy's a choice, not a weakness. Exactly, Travis said. That's why it's mine to give. He entered the coordinates for Marla's location, pinged off her burner phone that she didn't know he cloned. She was holed up in a short-term rental outside of Asheville. Lights off, gun loaded, waiting for a ghost. Travis strapped his gear tight. No armor, no helmet, just one Glock and a purpose. Tonight wasn't about tactics. It was about truth. Marla had been pacing for hours. Her hair was tangled, her eyes wild. Her phone was dead. She hadn't eaten in 2 days. She checked the gun again. Safety off, just like Clay showed her. Every shadow in the room looked like him. Every creak sounded like his boots. She sat in the corner, knees pulled up, whispering over and over. I was supposed to win. I was supposed to win. Then the door creaked. She jumped up, gun raised. Nothing. Silence. She moved through the dark hallways like she was back in one of those nightmare loops. Same house, same path, but the danger never came from where it should. Then the lights flickered. The front door slowly opened just enough. And there he was, Travis Rourke. No mask, no words, just standing in the doorway, staring. Marla's knees almost buckled. She raised the gun with both hands. He didn't move. You shouldn't be alive, she whispered. Travis took one step inside. Calm, measured. She shouted, I will shoot you. Still, he didn't flinch. Then do it, he said. Her hands trembled. He walked forward, slow, steady, until the barrel pressed to his chest. Marla sobbed. He whispered, You wanted me dead. Now's your chance. She stared at him. Then slowly, she dropped the gun and fell to her knees. Please, please, I was scared. Travis knelt beside her, took the gun, set it aside, looked her dead in the eyes. I don't want your tears. She shook. Then what do you want? Travis stood. Closure. Then walked out the door, leaving her sobbing in the dark. Boone was already waiting at the rally point when Travis pulled up. "You let her live?" Boone asked. Travis didn't answer. Boone sighed. "You know she'll spin it. Go public. Play the victim card." "She already did," Travis replied. "Now she's just left with herself." Boone tossed him a folder. Caro made contact with Ochoa's crew again. "He's trying to vanish out of state. Got a private airstrip west of Raleigh. Midnight takeoff." Travis opened the folder. Satellite maps. Security plans. 3 names on the manifest. Caro at the top. "No more messages," Travis said. "This one ends loud." Boone raised an eyebrow. Guns blazing. "No," Travis said, tightening his belt and sliding a knife into his boot. "Surgical." They geared up in silence. No music. No hype. Just purpose. This wasn't about leaking files or proving anything. This was war. One man against the ones who sold out their own country, buried their own, and laughed about it behind closed doors. By midnight, Travis was already in position on the edge of the airfield. Night vision on. Wind steady. Target in sight. Caro stepped out of the SUV. Travis exhaled once and whispered, "Time to shut the door." The wind whipped across the private airstrip as Travis lay flat behind a mound of cargo crates. 20 yards ahead, Caro lit a cigarette beside a black SUV, flanked by 2 armed men. The plane sat on the tarmac, engine warming, waiting to vanish into the clouds with 3 names and 1,000,000 sins on board. Travis moved silently between shadows, the same way he used to breach enemy compounds. Except this time, it wasn't a mission. It was personal. Boone's voice crackled in his earpiece from the Overlook Ridge, security on the ground. "Light, 2 armed, no visible patrols. Caro about to board." Travis clicked once in response. He approached low, quiet, using the cover of the wind and the noise of the plane. Every step calculated, every movement silent. Then he was in range. He sprang up and fired 2 suppressed shots. Both guards dropped before their radios chirped. Caro turned, eyes wide, cigarette falling from his mouth. "Travis?" he muttered. But Travis didn't speak. He advanced, gun raised, steps even. Caro backed away, hands up. "You don't want to do this. Think about what you're doing." Travis stopped 6 feet away. "I've been thinking about it since the day you tried to erase me." Caro lowered his voice, trying to reason. "You do this, and you'll prove everything they said about you. That you're unstable, broken, just another rogue vet with a vendetta." Travis stared at him, dead calm. "No, I'm the only one who finally gave a damn." He pistol-whipped Caro to the ground hard. Kneeling, he pulled out the same military insignia Caro once stripped from Travis's file. Travis burned it into his chest with a heated knife. Caro screamed, "You wanted to erase me?" Travis whispered, "Now you're marked for life." Sunrise crept over the lake. Travis stood where it all began, the burned remains of his old house. Charwood, collapsed beams, the dock still barely intact. He had a small gas can in his hand. Not much, just enough. Boone stood back, watching in silence. "You sure about this?" he asked. Travis nodded. "It's all rotten. Every photo, every room, everything built on a lie." He poured the gas slow, steady, across the remaining floorboards, down the hallway, through the empty living room where he once dreamed of peace. There was no peace in any of this, only closure. He knelt and pulled out a small box. Inside, his wedding ring, Mason's tag, and the last picture he and Marla took before it all turned. He placed it on the windowsill, then lit the match. The flames rose fast. Travis didn't flinch, didn't step back. Boone said nothing, just watched as the smoke curled into the sky like a final confession. "You done?" he asked after a long silence. Travis stared at the fire. "Not yet." Clay Halpern was found in a motel room outside Fayetteville, slumped over the desk. An empty bottle of sleeping pills on the bed. One last note on the table, but no signature. The room was pristine, clean, silent. But the coroner noted something strange. No pills in the system. No deseo, no straged, just a single needle mark on the neck. And a note written in red ink. "You defended monsters. You died as one." The media speculated suicide. The conspiracy forums said it was Travis. Some called it poetic justice. Marla saw the news on her phone from a cheap motel 2 states away. She didn't cry. She didn't even flinch. Just whispered, "He's cleaning house." She checked out before sunset. Travis, watching her on the monitor, leaned back in his chair. He didn't celebrate. He didn't smile. Clay was never the hardest one to end. The hard part was still coming. Because you don't walk away from war. You carry in your chest, like shrapnel. And eventually, it starts to bleed. Chapter 40. Karma Marla drove through the back roads of Tennessee with both hands white-knuckling the wheel. Her phone had been off for 2 days. No GPS, no social media, no credit cards, cash only. She'd bleached her hair, wore sunglasses even at night. The motel clerk hadn't even asked for ID. She was nobody now. That's all she had left. But karma wasn't just a word in a court sentence or a Reddit headline. It was something real, heavy, waiting. She saw it in the way people stared at her in gas stations, like they recognized her from somewhere. She heard it in the silence at night, when every creak in the wall made her think someone was breaking in. She couldn't sleep, couldn't think straight. And then it happened. She walked out of a rest stop bathroom, and her rental car was gone. Just gone. No sound, no alarm, no witnesses. A piece of paper sat taped to the bathroom mirror. In block letters, "You ran." Karma didn't. She stared at it, breathing hard. Looked around. Nothing. Just the wind. And the feeling that this wasn't fear anymore. This was the price. Chapter 41. Named Boone watched Travis from the side of the campfire, both of them quiet under the stars. The war was almost over. But not for Travis. He had the file in his lap. A manila folder with a name on it. Not his. His real one. From before the military. Before the ops. Before Marla. Boone nodded toward it. "You gonna open that?" Travis didn't move. "I already know what it says." "Then why carry it?" Travis stared into the fire. "Because it reminds me I had a name before all this. Before I became someone they could kill and forget." Boone leaned forward. "Then why not be that guy again?" "Because he's gone." The flames crackled. The silence stretched. Boone finally spoke again. "Maybe this ends with you disappearing. Maybe not. But you need to know what you did. What you exposed. That mattered. They won't spin this one. You gave people truth." Travis didn't smile. Didn't nod. Just reached into the fire, dropped the folder in. Watched it burn. Chapter 42. Choice Marla stood at the edge of an empty train platform. A ticket in her coat pocket. One bag. A new ID with a fake name. She stared down the tracks like they were some kind of escape route. Like if she just left the state, she could outrun everything. But it was already too late. She heard footsteps behind her. She turned, slow. He was standing there. Travis. Hands in his coat. Calm. Quiet. She stepped back, but he didn't move. "How did you find me?" she asked. He raised an eyebrow. "You think I ever stopped knowing where you were?" She swallowed hard. "You gonna kill me?" Travis didn't answer. He pulled a folded paper from his pocket. Dropped it at her feet. She picked it up. It was her signature on the insurance policy. On the forged will. On the hit order Clay drafted. All of it. Every betrayal in ink. Travis looked her in the eye. "You think this was ever about revenge?" She nodded slowly. "Wasn't it?" "No," he said. "It was about the truth." She stepped forward, voice shaking. "Then what happens now?" He paused. Looked at her one last time. "You disappear." He turned. Walked away. She stood there, frozen. No words. No noise. Just the sound of a train arriving in the distance. And the crushing weight of mercy. Chapter 43. Cleansed Travis stood alone at the edge of the clearing, surrounded by the wreckage of the storage container where he'd kept everything. Photos, evidence, IDs, burner phones, weapons, hard drives. All of it. His entire second life. He hadn't come to gather anything. He came to destroy it. Boone stood back, arms crossed, watching him pour gasoline over a box labeled Rourke //op7, a file that never officially existed, just like he never officially died. "You sure?" Boone asked. Travis didn't answer. He struck a match and dropped it. The fire exploded instantly. Flames licked the sky, feeding off secrets, lies, and a decade of missions built on buried truths. Boone spoke through the rising heat. "You could have disappeared. Clean. No more cameras. No more shadows. No more anything." Travis's eyes stayed fixed on the flames. "I don't want to disappear. I just want to stop existing in other people's stories." Boone frowned. What the hell does that mean? It means no more being a ghost. No more being the victim. No more being the villain. Just a man. Boone didn't argue. He knew the look in Travis's eyes. That quiet stare soldiers get when they've seen too much and survived too long. They watched the flames until there was nothing left but ash and the smell of burnt metal. Travis turned toward Boone. I'm leaving. Boone gave a small nod. You going off-grid? Travis shook his head. No. Somewhere real this time. Somewhere no one knows my name. You gonna tell me where? Travis looked at him once more. No. Then he walked off into the woods as the last of his past turned to smoke behind him. Chapter 44. Peace the cabin was tucked deep into the Montana wilderness. 2 hours off paved road. No neighbors. No power lines. Just pine trees, snowfall, and silence. Travis chopped wood by hand. Built fires. Read old books. Taught himself how to forget what it meant to be Travis Rourke. He never used his real name again. Not at the hardware store, where the clerk called him Tom. Not at the town post office, where he only picked up packages marked with a symbol. Never a name. And not with the group of local veterans he met once a week in a cold barn outside of town. They didn't ask questions. They didn't care about his past. They just talked, worked with their hands, and kept each other alive. One day, Boone showed up, unannounced, drove the whole way. You look like hell, he said when he saw Travis with a beard and flannel, wood chips stuck to his jeans. Travis grinned. Hell looks like peace when you survive it. They sat by the fire. Shared silence. No more talk. No names. Just peace. Boone looked at him, serious. You done for good? Travis poked at the flames. I've done enough. Lost enough. Boone nodded. World still feels broken, you know. Yeah, Travis said. But I don't. He stared out into the forest as snow began to fall. A stillness settled across the trees. The kind of stillness that wasn't silence. It was freedom. Marla Rourke was found in a quiet motel room just outside the Nevada state line. Not dead. Not famous. Just gone. No press. No police escort. No final message. Just a woman erased by her own choices, carrying the weight of everything she did and everything she lost in her eyes. And Travis? He didn't hunt her down, didn't pull the trigger. Justice didn't come from a bullet. It came from survival. He was still out there, somewhere, building cabins, teaching veterans how to heal, living a life not tracked by headlines or case files, but by quiet mornings and second chances. They didn't write books about him. There were no parades, no medals. But if you listen close enough, his story was still being whispered in the corners of the internet, in the back alleys of YouTube and Reddit threads. Because some stories don't fade. They echo. And if you've been here since the first word, if you followed every chapter, every twist, every breath in the dark, then let me ask you this. Where were you watching from? What city? What place? What moment in your own life were you sitting in while this story played out? Drop it in the comments. And tell us, how did this hit you? Was it revenge? Was it healing? Was it justice? Because this wasn't just a thriller. This was a mirror. And now, if this story meant something to you, even a line, even a second, do the real thing. Like the video, share the story, hit that bell icon so you don't miss the next one. We got more coming. More truth, more justice, and more stories that don't flinch. Now tell us in the comments, what would you have done if you were Travis? And how should justice look in a world like this? We'll be reading every word. This story's done. But yours? It might be just getting started.